But, you know, on this Wednesday morning, Kellyanne, there were a number of big congressional races and statewide races, 7 different states. One of the big ones is the fact that one of the most powerful Democrats in Congress, Mr. Crowley, who some had thought could be the next Speaker of the House if they regain power, the Democrats do, lost to a 28-year-old Democratic socialist by the name of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has a lot of policies that are to the stark left of Mr. Crowley.
Well, they're to the stark left of America. I think every Democratic candidate out there could be asked now, may be asked, do you agree or disagree with the new face of the Democratic Party that we should abolish immigration, customs, and enforcement altogether? The brave men and women who are trying to process these claims and in many ways protect children who may be smuggled by people who are not related to them, may be in danger when they try to come here. And this is also somebody who, like many Democrats today, is for abortion on demand, who's calls herself a proud socialist. Don't forget, Bernie Sanders, the most prominent socialist in the Democratic Party, he won 21 or 22 contests and 13 million votes in a presidential primary against the invincible, unbeatable Queen Bee herself. So the party has been drifting leftward for quite a while. They now just have candidates prevailing in primaries. Last night, the big winner of all the contests was President Donald J. Trump. Henry McMaster in his runoff for governor in South Carolina, a day after the president put it all on the line and went in there for Governor McMaster. Governor McMaster won handily and actually increased his vote totals by 40% in the very county or the area where the rally was the night before. He increased his vote count from just a couple weeks earlier. And that's the power and the force of Air Force One coming to your state, coming to your district to help you. And that's why the president is so active and the vice president is so active in these races this year. He'll be leaving again today to go out to North Dakota for a candidate there. The other winner was Dan Donovan. All the public polls showed Congressman Donovan losing. He won by double digits. And I think the people all these geniuses and prognosticators who got 2016 wrong are getting 2018 wrong because they don't see the growing leftward pull of the Democratic Party. This is, I think, also people should recognize that Joe Crowley, the number 4 leading Democrat in the House who lost last night to a socialist, he doesn't do what Donald Trump did to win the presidency. Take the case directly to the people. The style, the way you connect with voters now is to go actually to the voters. This is a man who skipped debates, who outraced his opponent 10-1, but just didn't show up, had lost touch. The president is the opposite. He goes and still goes to connect directly with the voters and then does so on his social media platforms as well.
Yeah, and by the way, it's just 28,000 people. He spent $3 million, had much more in the bank, and he just flat out lost. Meanwhile, let's talk about...
To a socialist.
Yeah, yes.
Did I mention that?
Yeah, and she's probably the most surprised person on the
planet
today.
I want to say also, we're not talking about some of these other races. People should go and look at some of the other victors of the last couple weeks for the Democratic primaries. In another district in New York against Republican Catco, the Democrats were basically, the 2 female Democrats were basically fighting about who was more for abortion. And yesterday, the Supreme Court, in a little cover decision, since the president had a huge victory on the travel ban case, Justice Thomas, writing for the majority, said that crisis pregnancy centers in California under the First Amendment do not need to be forced to tell you about abortion. They're trying to get you to either parent the child or give them up for adoption. So we're looking at just a crazy leftward pull. And we've got socialists now winning, much the way Bernie Sanders won those 21 or 22 contests and 13 million voters 2 short years ago.
What's your reaction to the way this rhetoric of Maxine Waters and folks coming up to Pam Bondi and Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Stephen Miller? This rhetoric's really hitting a fever pitch. And now we learned this morning that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to get Secret Service protection at her house. What's your reaction?
My reaction is there's a difference, Ainsley, between rhetoric and the social media muscle and cable news cojones, as I call it, that some people have, and crimes. People are inciting, asking for crimes or violence. In the case of that actor who I'd forgotten about out in California, who's got a new movie coming out, so I guess it's a great fanfare. He actually had tweeted out that someone should go to her house and take her children, God forbid. Yeah. I mean, this is not insulting all the stuff that we're used to around here, right? Insulting what somebody said or how they look or where they work or what they wear. This is calling for something much deeper, and that's very, very concerning to many people. I also hope a number of these executives in the media who are accosted on the top floors of their buildings are paying very close attention to what's being said by some of their commentators and some of their writers. People who are print reporters now have cable news contracts, are obviously on social media all day. They get away with saying things there that you would not be able to get past an editor's desk. And that's very concerning. So we should look at this intern last week, a congressional summer intern. Her name is Caitlin Marriott. I'm sure she's being deified on the left, the socialist left.
She got a week suspension.
She got a week suspension and still has her job. I guarantee you, I talked to the president this morning. He says hello, by the way. I can promise you on his behalf that if a White House intern here this summer ever said anything like that to an elected official, let alone the president of the United States, the F word followed by the name, harassing elected officials like Leader McConnell and his wife, a cabinet secretary last night, I guarantee you that person would be gone immediately.
Of course.
And so we're not even sending the right message by having the punishments fit the, not just rhetoric. Let me make clear. There's a difference between these, stupid playground insults that people hurl at each of us and asking for more action, but people are calling for that, and also let me just make clear: there's no moral equivalence between quoting from a rally 3 years ago and what's being said by a member of Congress on her official time, asking for us to be quote pushed back upon in public.
And the Speaker of the House, it sounds like at least 100 members are calling for her to be censured. Maxine Waters, we'll stay tuned on that. Kellyanne, thank you very much for joining us from the North Lawn. Busy day at the White House.
Always great to see you.
Thanks,
Always.
Kellyanne.
Thank you.